today, people talk about night runners. Talk about the night runners. Well, in the UK, we have a place called Stonehenge. And the Druids used to go there to pray and worship to do their thing in the night. And it's documented. In fact, when Obama came to UK, he went to Stonehenge to see the stones arranged. And every culture has their tradition. The Incas had their tradition. The Mayas had their tradition. The Egyptians had their tradition. That is documented and that is respected. Why can't ours be respected? So therefore, when the night runners say that they demand to be recognized as a professional tradition, why not? Why not recognize them? They are keeping peace and security in the night. They make sure that the robbers are not going. You need to unleash them on the streets of Nairobi. Then there won't be muggings. Yeah? They're doing their thing. And if that is their profession, if we can legalize commercial sex workers, why not legalize night runners? And I come from Homa Bay County. I know that I'm not in every tradition. I believe in herbal medicine and traditional medicine. I've studied that. I use herbs on myself. I help friends with herbs. I don't charge anyone because the herbs are free in the ground. If they have to buy it, I can tell them what to buy because I've done a course, I've trained in it, I've got certification in it. Night runners have their profession. That's not my profession. But the fact that it's not my profession doesn't mean I shouldn't respect them. So the night runners, and there's lots of information available online, they have their place. They had their place in African tradition. They have now. I've met night runners at night. You don't go knocking them with a car because you don't understand them. We know who they are in the village. Some of them, we were told as children, they have a tame leopard. So they ride on the back of a leopard. Well, Bokassa of Central African Republic used to wear the skin of a leopard. Was he a leopard? So it's all about perspective. What someone sees, they've seen. I've met night runners. We know who they are in the community. We don't disgrace them by revealing them. And we maintain peace with them. They also maintain peace with us because we know who they are. It's their hobby and it's their profession. So let them do it. They're normal people like us. They eat food like us. They sleep like us. It's only that they are night runners. So they have their place. And so therefore my personal philosophy may be a bit of a surprise because I'm an African Christian. I'm a born-again Christian. I grew up Catholic. I respect African traditional religion. I will not belittle it. I respect it. I believe in the living dead. I do not pray. I will not sit here and pray to my dead father. But in my prayer to God, I thank him that I had a father who brought me up as a Christian. When I'm missing my father, I say, Daddy, I'm missing you. Give me wisdom to be able to remember what I have to do. There are times when I think, oh, I wish Dad was alive. I wonder what he would have thought of the situation because I used to ask his advice. So mine is not to go to sit at his grave and to try to dig up and to try and, do all sorts of funny things to get an answer. I pray to God, my Father, because my dad is with God. And I get inspiration from that to move on because it reached a point where the children of Israel would have liked Moses to stay behind. They would not have wanted him to go. They had crossed the wilderness. He had gone before Pharaoh before them. He had led them in crossing the Red Sea. They had crossed the Red Sea. They had gone through the desert, the wilderness. He had given them water from the rock. He had fed them, interceded with God through the Turim and the Urim. Yeah. So the way he interceded with the Turim and Urim is the way our great-grandfather Gormahia had his own Turim and Urim. It's there in the Bible. Now they reach the promised land. And Moses can't go in with them. It must have hurt them. And nobody knows where Moses was buried. Because if they know where Moses is buried, they will want to set up a shrine there. That will become their Mecca where they go to worship. People have an idea where Gormahia is buried. Some people come there only when it's election time. because they want to get certain powers. Our grandfather, Andrea, was given the bilo, the anointing. Bilo is the Luo word for anointing. When Elijah was going, he left his mantle for Elisha. When Moses was going, he appointed Joshua. And when Moses went, Joshua mourned for him. The whole people mourned for him. After the mourning, they washed themselves and they moved forward into the promised land. We need to move forward. We as Luos keep talking about what so-and-so did, thank God for so-and-so. But now we need to chart our future in these new times to be able to see what is relevant. We have a globalized village. We have Chinese in Kenya. In some parts of the country, they're even roasting maize now. They are now living as locals, whereas we cannot go to their country and start roasting maize to sell to the Chinese. We cannot go to their country and start marrying their children, because what? They will want, what did your visa say? Did you get a working permit to come and roast maize here? So we have to look at the challenges we face today, and we have to come up with a plan. If we are to survive, some of those solutions will require us to look back to history and see what did our ancestors do. Secondly, it may require that we be able to put our new wine in new wineskins. The Bible talks about you cannot put new wine in old wineskins. Those who deal with hides and skins know that young leather can stretch. So when you put new wine in a new wineskin, there are gases that cause it to stretch. The old wineskin has stretched enough, there is no more room. If you put the new wine in it, it will burst. Therefore, new ways of thinking. New wine needs to a completely new paradigm shift, a new way of thinking, a new way of solutions. We have a very patriarchal society. Luo is patriarchal, as if all brains are in male bodies. Yet we have in the Nubian kingdom, we have in the traditional Luo society, there were women leaders, very successful. We had black queens in Africa. Africanus.